So I'm Ella, thank you for the introduction. I'm a senior graduating in the spring, and today I want to talk about something that's been in books and plays and films. It's talked about on the news and it's all over Tumblr. I want to talk about women's empowerment. It's a huge idea, right? The idea that women and men should be equal, that I should be given the same opportunities as my male counterparts. But specifically, I want to ground women's empowerment in my personal experience here at Stone Ridge and in an all-girls school. There's something magical about all-girls schools, and so I want to talk about that today. I want to ground the data that keeps being released year after year that all-girls schools help women. They produce girls that want to change the world. But I want to start with me. This is in 2002 when I was 6 years old. And this is a picture of me today. It was taken about 3 weeks ago at Tribune, which is the alumni induction ceremony here at Stone Ridge. This is a transition that is literally universal, right? Everybody goes from being a child to a young adult. Education is a vital step in that process, but often for boys and girls, it's inherently different. Sitting in the same classrooms and studying the same material, boys and girls are receiving different educations. I'm sure you all have heard about this before, but girls in general are told to be quiet. We're told to be contemplative, organized. Boys are encouraged, of course, to think independently, to speak up and be active, to overstep boundaries. And when they call out without raising their hand, they're told that boys will be boys. Why, of course, girls sit in the corner with their hand already raised. It's a continuous trope that I'm sure isn't new to most people in this room. And also I'd like to acknowledge that it's not universally true. Of course, there is equality in some classrooms, but overarchingly, this is the way we see the education system work. I'm going to put in a quick plug for a wonderful documentary called Misrepresentation that was released in 2011. In it, there's an interview with a high school girl, and she talks about how everybody seems so focused on my body and not on my brain. This, again, is a theme that we see over and over, that girls are told to be perfect, not just in their intellect, in the way they look, and they owe the world a certain type of body and a certain type of beauty. And so they're not allowed to be given the same, obviously, opportunities as boys are. Yes. So I'm not crazy about statistics, maybe it's because I'm bad with numbers, but I just want to tell you through a couple of these quickly. So in America, women comprise 52% of the population. Cool, slight majority. But in fact, Congress is only 20% female. This is a problem on many fronts, mostly because Congress is passing legislation that affects half of the population. And also, at this rate, we won't reach full equality, so like a 50% female Congress and a 50% male Congress, for another 300 years. So that's terrifying. Only 11% of protagonists in main media films are female. I'll give you a hint. Most of those women's biggest problem is which guy to hook up with that weekend. Rom-coms are great, love them, but when girls only see women whose biggest problem is the guy in their life, they forget that women also have ideas that don't revolve around men, and that women actually have voices that are bigger than this. Also, only 3% of high-power positions in media are occupied by females, so we're talking like news reporters, directors, playwrights, journalists, people who have voices, who affect the way our world is portrayed through the media. And of course, the classic statistic, we're still at 70 cents per $1. The same job for a woman, she gets 77 cents for every dollar a man gets. So when we look at these statistics, they're terrifying, right? Like 20% female Congress, 3% leadership roles, those are overwhelming. So I think the first step we have to take is acknowledging that our daughters are already speaking, right? Like, that's what's so radical about all-girls schools, isn't that we're putting words in a girl's mouth. We're not like raising an army of feminists. They're already there. They're already saying what needs to be said. Let us acknowledge, of course, that our daughters' voices are already strong. Despite the vast inequality in our country, women are doing great. Generations before me have worked hard, and generations in front of me will work hard to create an equal world, an equal opportunity for both women and men. But in my experience, what's so great about all-girls schools is that more than, like I said, more than putting words in girls' mouths, they unveiled so that the girls' voices are allowed to echo up onto the stage themselves. So I want to break down why all-girls schools are so great, why they empower women, in 3 specific ways. Let's start with the obvious. The norm at all-girls schools is empowerment. I realize, again, that this is stating the obvious, but 100% of our important roles here at Stone Ridge and at all-girls schools are occupied by females, right? So like, all the students sitting in our AP Math and Science classes, girls. All of the students using that turf field out there on varsity sports, they're girls. All people who are running our student government, again, they're female. But in creating an atmosphere where everyone's succeeding, there's nothing weird about a girl wanting to play sports or wanting to take an AP chemistry course. Nobody's being called too bossy or too smart or too athletic. We're all expected to rise to positions of intellect and leadership and action. Success is not out of the ordinary, and so women in that simple step are empowered. 2, mentorship is understood to be a vital tool. If I could, I would have a whole separate TEDx talk just about mentorship. It's incredibly important, and specifically it's important for females. Women and women students in general are so inspired by personal connection. Girls just do better when they have a mentor, specifically an older woman, telling them that they can succeed. I want to give a quick shout out. There is a woman who works in the upper school English department. Her name is Miranda Whitmore, and she has been my personal mentor, as she has been a mentor to many girls before me, and I'm sure she will after me. I have gone to Ms. Whitmore and said, this great thing just happened to me. Celebrate with me. I've gone to her and said, I don't really know how I feel about this. Can you help me process? I've gone to her and said, I feel imperfect. Is this normal? Is failure okay? And because of this, because I've had a mentor who's older than me and told me, yeah, your success is great. Your failure doesn't define you, I've been able to grow into a more mature woman. If we look at the previous step, right, as the norm at an all-girls school is empowerment, if we look at that as sowing the seeds, dropping the opportunities that the girls will run up and seize, then mentorship is the gardening part, the part where we drop the water and get the fertilizer going and things like that, so that the flowers bloom themselves. I cannot speak enough on the importance of mentorship. But finally, I want to talk about acceptance within the community resulting in less girl-on-girl hate. I don't know if I'm the only one who experiences this, but often when I tell people I go to an all-girls school, the very first response is always, oh my god, it must be so catty, and it must be so competitive, all those girls in one place. In fact, and let me break this down. Often in co-ed schools, there are fewer positions allotted to girls because of the inherence of, we just saw those statistics, fewer women are allowed to succeed when men are involved. But in all-girls schools, because all those opportunities open up, more women succeed. And so because more women are succeeding, the competition diffuses. I realize that my success doesn't mean another girl's failure. It's not a zero-sum game. And because of that, I realize that I can stand at the forefront, succeeding and having other girls succeed with me. And in fact, mind blown, I might actually bring other girls up with me. Right? So like, many of us succeed at once. This is what's so radical. And between these 3 tenets, my personal experience at all-girls schools has been phenomenal, as I know many other girls has been as well. I'd like to close with a quote that Malala, I'm sure many of you have heard of Malala, she said, I believe, last spring when Boko Haram abducted girls from a Western education institution. She said, there is nothing more terrifying to a radical than a girl with a book in her hand. Let us acknowledge that the books are already in our hand. Mission accomplished. We are already being educated. We are already being empowered because of our simple education, because of these 3 simple tenets. Equality is not too far away, and although this isn't the only tool to be used, it is a valuable tool, and it is one that is already working in our world.